Hello, today I'm going to show you how to put together some raised flower beds. This particular design is very simple to put together and very inexpensive. The total material cost for each box is less than $50. So let's go take a look at the materials and the tools needed, and let's get started. So you'll need 3 pieces of 1 by 8 by 6 foot long redwood boards. Each board costs about $9. You'll use 2.5 of these to make a 18-inch wide by 6 foot long raised planter bed box. You'll also need to buy a bundle of redwood stakes. It's about $30 for the bundle. You'll use 8 of them, so that'll be about $5 for this project. Then you'll need to buy a roll of 2 foot wide by 25 foot long galvanized 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch wire mesh. Now a roll of this costs about $40. You'll get 4 pieces out of this, so each one will be about $11 after tax. You'll need to buy a box of exterior deck screws. These are 1 5/8 in a 5-pound box. The box runs about $40. You'll use about 35 screws out of this. There's like almost 1,000 screws in a box, so it'll cost you about $2 worth of screws. You can also buy a 1-pound box, and I think there's about 90 screws in a 1-pound box. That'll run you about $3 if you do it that way per project. And then you'll need to buy a box of T50 staples, 3/8 or 1/2 inch. These are 3/8 inch. And you'll use, there's 1,200 in a box, and so it'll be about 50 cents or less of staple material. So that's all that's needed to put together a raised flower bed. And now let's look at some of the tools that you'll need. So you only need 1 saw, but here's 3 different options depending on what you might have. You've got lower left, you've got the red little cordless circular saw. I kind of like that because it's transportable, no cords are needed, and for projects like this, lightweight stuff, it works really well. You got more heavy duty stuff, you've got a skill saw, an electric skill saw, and an electric radial arm chop saw. Now of course if you have something like this, that makes cutting this project a lot easier. But there's actually only 2 cuts that we need to make, and I'll do one with the radial arm chop saw and one with the cordless saw to show you different methods and options. You'll need a tape measure, a pencil, and a square, and then you'll need a screwdriver to put it together. This one happens to be a cordless screwdriver with an extended bit, and that's one nice thing about those screws. When you buy them, they come with the bit that's necessary, so you don't need to worry about that. And then you'll need tin snips. There's 2 different pairs that I show you here. There's the green pair, which is a right-handed pair of tin snips, and it doesn't mean it's for a right or left-hander. It just means that the blades are tipped to the right so that it cuts to the right. And then just a regular straight tin snips are the ones in the red. And then you'll need a 250 stapler. And then when we go put it in place, you'll need a level to kind of get it leveled out. And then you'll need a hammer of some sort. Usually the sledgehammer, the long yellowed handled hammer, works really well because it helps drive the stakes. But if you only have a regular hammer, that will work too. All right, so let's get putting this together. Okay, now that we've got our board ready to cut, let's take a measurement. So these are 6 foot long. So we're gonna get 4 18-inch pieces out of this. So we'll use half of this for a later project. So we'll come in and we'll mark it at 3 feet. Now these, when you cut them, they're gonna lose a little blade width. So it'll be slightly less than. So this one's easy, you only gotta put a little mark. You line up the saw, bring it forward to the front end. You don't really want to stop back here because it could kick back on you a little bit. So you start out, okay, and it's that simple. Now we'll cut the other one. So we'll go half of 36 inches, that's 18. Overall, I cut it a little bit long so we could lose the blade width. So we'll go 18, and this time we're going to use the cordless saw. So we're going to mark ourselves. All right, that's all the cuts that are needed. And remember, this is a planter box. We're not building a piano, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, now that we've got all of our pieces spread out, we're going to put the box together. Now the pieces go in the middle. You want to check to see, which side of the board looks better, up or down. So we're going to do this as the top. So we're going to pick the best parts of the boards inside and out to make them the top. All right, and then we just get our screws. Redwood splits a little bit, so I like to kind of put it near the edge of the other one and angle it slightly
And like I said, this is planter box, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And so we're just going to put 3 screws in each one top and bottom first, kind of get it lined up, and then 1 more in the middle. And we'll just go around really quickly and do that to all the others. This one looks good this way. You want to start down about 1 inch or 1.5 inches to avoid splitting. Redwood typically splits fairly easily. Although when you buy these from the lumber yard, they're usually a little bit damp still, which is great because it helps keep from splitting when you put them together. See how easy this is? It just goes together really simply. It's a very simple design, and I'll show you underneath how we're going to make this rodent proof by putting that wire on next step. And that too is actually really simple. You can see we've already cut the boards, got them all screwed together, and it's only been just a few minutes. You do a few of these and you'll be an expert. Flip our box over. So we have to bump the bottom side up when we put this wire on. We'll grab our wire. Now I didn't cut this to length. We want to use about 6 foot 3 inches total. So we're going to get it centered left and right. And we're going to hang over about 1.5 inches. And so get it roughly centered. Put in a few staples right in the center. That way we can roll it out and make sure we get it straight. So now you can square it up, make it the same as you did on the other end. And we're going to tack it in place while we cut it. Okay? Then we're going to get our tin snips. We're going to open them up and we're going to cut it at about 1.5 inches. That's really simple. It takes just a second. Alright, now we're going to go around the box and staple it all out. So usually you want to start in the center and work your way in each direction. Just staple it about every 4 to 6 inches. And we're going to fold it over the sides to make it extra rodent proof. And if these staples rust out, the wire will last longer. And by folding it up and over, we'll make sure that it stays in place to keep those gophers and moles and voles out of your garden. Get any little bubbles, just add a few more extra staples to help hold it down tight. Alright, now that we've got those, we're going to want to fold it all over. So we're going to want to cut these so that they fold down evenly, just to the corner. Only cut them to the corner. Okay, then we'll go through and bend it down. Again, start in the middle, kind of do it slowly, work your way back and forth. It'll help for a nice little tighter bend. Okay, now we're gonna flip it up a little to make it a little easier to do the stapling, and I'll spin it around here. Okay, now that we have it turned around, we'll just start in the middle and start stapling this side down. Again, about every 4 to 6 inches is sufficient. I tend to do things a little overkill, so I put it about every 4 inches. Doesn't really cost much more to do that, and it'll last longer. So we just go along and staple these up. And we'll go down the sides. Fold that one down, and we'll throw a few staples in that guy. And sometimes the staple hits a wire and doesn't like to go in. But there you go. We'll go down this other way. Do the same thing. Staple this end off. Fold this down. Throw a couple of staples in that. I'll pound over the little sharp points so that hopefully don't stick itself. All right, and then we'll fold it up and over and do this side. Fold it over. All right, and then we're done. Now we just go put it in place. Okay, now we've got our box in place. This particular spot is shadowed for about 2 hours of the day, so it's just one of the last spots that I've got in my garden that'll work for a flower bed of this size. I leveled out a spot relatively close just a little earlier. It took about 5 minutes. So you get your box in place, and then we'll want to just make sure that we're close to level, and we'll adjust that more closely when we put the stakes in and screw it into place. So we're pretty close. And so we take our stakes, and there'll be one in each corner. And then 2 on each side. Now we do have to make a slight cut of the wire inside in each corner. So we just want to check, how much of that we want to cut out. We want to minimize as much as possible so we don't get any rodents in through these spots. So we just go in and snip the wires out where each stake will go. So these two, we're gonna, relatively, it doesn't have to be perfect, relatively even. And so in a way that hopefully will minimize cutting. So we'll just cut out the little pieces of wire in those spots. And these stakes should last for a number of years before they rot out because they're redwood. So that's why we're building this out of redwood. Do not build it out of pressure treated lumber. It'll put toxins into your soil and then into your vegetables. Now if you're gonna just plant flowers, then you'll probably be okay as long as you're not eating the flowers or growing them for any kind of herbal teas or anything. And so we'll just keep cutting these out. And we'll just come around, do all 8 of them. And roughly and the last one. Grab a sledgehammer, make sure that it's kind of square where I want it. And we'll just go around and drive the stakes. Now these aren't really necessary so much. They will help hold the box together a little bit better. They will maybe keep it from spreading a little bit. But once you fill it full of dirt, it's not really going to go anywhere. So this is just an extra step that I do. Now if the stakes don't drive in all the way, you can use saw, hand saw, or that little cordless saw that I showed earlier to cut the stake heights off. Now, redwood stakes, like I said earlier, redwood can split pretty easy. So I soaked these in water because they'll come dry when you get them at the lumber yard. So I soaked these in water overnight just to make sure that they don't split out when I drill the screws into them. Now this guy's not wanting to drive in, make it a little bit more stubborn. Okay, now let me go get my drill and some screws. We'll screw this off and we'll be done. Okay, we got our drill, grab a handful of screws, and we'll just go around and screw it off. I'll usually put 2 screws into the stakes Just be sure not to over drill, they'll strip out. The great thing about these screws is they're self-tapping, but they will strip out if you drill them in too hard. Now I put in 2 in there. This isn't really necessary, but I also like to screw in a couple of this way. Just really helps hold the corner together. The box will last a lot longer. So we'll just go around real quick. Now if you want to stick around for a little bonus footage, after we're done with this, I'll fill it up full of soil. And then in a later video, I'll show you how to run irrigation to it. And we're done. Now, like I said, if you want to stick around a little bit, I'll put some soil in here and show you how to get the soil in the box. And thank you for watching my video. Please like and share. Follow me on my webpage. Subscribe to my webpage. I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome to the little bonus footage. I'm going to fill this up. I've got Miracle Grow. Now, this may not be your choice. Certainly if you want to be a more organic gardener, they do have plenty of organic soils. I just like this because it's easy, it's relatively inexpensive, and so it takes about 9 bags to fill in this little 6 foot by 18 inch wide planter bed. So we'll just get to it real quick. You can also use topsoil that you can buy at the store if you have good soil around your house. We have really bad clay soil, so it doesn't work too well. You can buy steer manure, mix it in at different rates. And there's all kinds of stuff. Tons of videos online that you can find on how to make your own topsoil, how to make your own mulches, and how to compost for more organic gardening, which I used to do at my previous residence, and eventually I hope to do that more, to get back into the more organic farming that I used to do. Although it's not really farming, it's more homesteading type of a, I only have a 1/4 acre here, so we don't have a whole lot of space, but I try to make the best of it. We've got 20 fruit trees, and I'll be adding some more. We've got some grapevines that I'll be planting, and other things around. So we just like the fresh vegetables. So these planter boxes work great. And like I said, I'll show you in another video how to run irrigation to these. I already have some run around the yard, so I can use that as an example and show you how to extend it to here. It's pretty simple. The tools are minimal. And so let's get this kind of packed in, see where we're at. You can see the planter box is nice and solid, not moving anywhere. Really simple construction, but very sturdy, and it'll last many, many years. Okay. And also in another video, maybe shorter than this one probably, although maybe I'll install them. I'm going to do some little 18-inch by 18-inch planter boxes that I'm going to put in between some of the trees in the orchard, so I can grow watermelons and cantaloupe, pumpkins for hopefully this October, maybe some cucumbers, other vining plants that take up a lot of room but don't need a lot of space to start. So we're getting close here. Pack that down one more time. Looks like one more bag spread around. It'll be 9. Should do it. That's great the way they design these bags. They actually open really easily. You don't need any knife or anything. You just kind of tear right open. I love working in the yard like this, getting my hands in the dirt. You can wear gloves if you want. It's actually really healthy for you to have your hands in the soil. Helps neutralize your body. And just working outdoors in the sun and the fresh air. Very energizing and rejuvenating. So that's